Have you ever felt the sharp sting of rejection? Maybe you worked tirelessly on a project only to hear that it wasn't good enough. Maybe you opened your heart to someone and were met with a cold no. Perhaps you chased a dream and were turned away, left wondering if you even had what it takes. Rejection hurts because it makes us feel inadequate, unworthy, and alone. It scratches at our confidence and challenges our self-belief. But here's the truth. Rejection is not the end. In fact, it is one of the most powerful tools for growth that life will ever hand you. It can teach you, shape you, and even propel you to heights you never imagined if you learn to see it through the right lens. Throughout history, the strongest, most resilient people faced rejection repeatedly. Leaders, inventors, athletes, and artists were told no countless times. Yet they didn't let that stop them. What set them apart was not luck or privilege. It was their ability to take every rejection, internalize the lesson, and come back stronger. Rejection became fuel, not a roadblock. And this is something you can do too, starting today. The pain of rejection is real. Science shows that social rejection activates the same areas of the brain as physical pain, making it feel like a punch to the gut or a stab to the chest. Our ancestors depended on belonging to survive. Being rejected from the tribe could mean being left alone in a dangerous world. That fear, that response is still hardwired in us today. But the Stoics remind us that while the pain is real, the meaning we assign to it is optional. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor, wrote that we have power over our minds, not outside events. This means that while you cannot control who accepts you or who says yes, you always have control over what you do next and how you interpret rejection. Epictetus, another Stoic, emphasized that it is not the events themselves that disturb us, but our judgments about them. When someone says no, it is their choice. How you respond is yours. You can allow it to wound your spirit, or you can refuse to let it define you. Rejection is not a measure of your worth. It is merely a reflection of someone else's perspective, limitations, or current circumstances. This mindset, though simple, is transformative. When you begin to reject rejection itself, you take command of your own mind, your own emotions, and your own destiny. History is filled with people who were rejected, yet went on to greatness. Steve Jobs was fired from Apple, the very company he founded. Imagine building a legacy and then being ousted from it. Many would have crumbled under the weight of such disappointment. But Jobs returned stronger than ever, leading Apple to create revolutionary products like the iPhone and reshaping entire industries. Oprah Winfrey was told she was too emotional for television and was fired from her first job. Today, she is a global icon and one of the most influential media figures in history. Michael Jordan, considered the greatest basketball player of all time, was cut from his high school basketball team. That rejection became the fuel for a legendary career. Walt Disney was told he lacked imagination. J.K. Rowling faced 12 rejections for her first Harry Potter manuscript. These stories all share a common thread. Rejection was not the end. It was the beginning. It became motivation, not a verdict. The secret to turning rejection into a tool lies in practice. Rejection, like strength, is a skill. The more you face it, the less it hurts. Most people avoid rejection, staying within their comfort zones, never daring to ask, try, or fail. But avoidance builds weakness. Instead, embrace what I call rejection exposure. Start small. Ask for a small favor, request a discount at a cafe, seek an upgrade on a flight, or apply for a job slightly out of reach. Do not measure success by the yes or no. Measure it by your courage to act. Each no you hear is a rep in the gym of resilience. Over time, you become immune to the sting, and you begin to see rejection as practice rather than punishment. Jia Jiang, an entrepreneur, spent 100 days intentionally seeking out rejection. He asked strangers for the most ridiculous things, from borrowing money to making announcements over a store intercom. Most said no, but through this process, he became fearless. That's the power of facing rejection directly. Not every rejection comes with useful insight, and that is where discernment matters. Feedback can be invaluable, but only when it comes from credible, experienced, and constructive sources. A hiring manager who has been recruiting for decades can offer insights that a friend who has never interviewed anyone cannot. Good feedback is actionable and specific, such as, Your presentation was strong, but your reasoning here was unclear. Bad feedback is vague and unhelpful, like, you're just not a good fit. Learn to filter advice carefully. Ignore destructive opinions, emotionally charged criticism, or unsolicited commentary from those without experience or stakes in the outcome. Protect your mind from unnecessary noise and focus on the insights that can actually help you grow. When someone rejects you, it can also become a powerful motivator. Think of Michael Jordan keeping a mental list of everyone who doubted him. Every slight, every underestimate became fuel to push harder, train longer, and strive further. Rejection is not an enemy. It is free energy if you use it correctly. It can ignite a prove-them-wrong mentality, not from bitterness, but from a place of self-improvement. Every rejection can be transformed into determination to become better, stronger, and more prepared than ever before. Tracking your progress is just as important as facing rejection itself. Without noticing growth, it's easy to become discouraged. Keep a journal, or at least make a habit of recording your attempts and improvements. Count the job applications you send, the interviews you attend, the conversations you start, or the dates you go on. Celebrate every small victory, because each step forward proves that you are moving in the right direction. Perhaps you received a callback after being turned down before, or you had a conversation that went far better than the last attempt. These are signs of progress. The Stoics emphasized process over outcome. Outcomes are influenced by factors beyond your control, such as timing, luck, and other people's decisions. But the process is yours to master, and in mastering it, you take control of your life. Life is full of competition, but you must see it as an opportunity rather than a threat. Every rejection is evidence that you are in the arena, that you are showing up and engaging with the world. Seneca warned against comparing yourself to others because doing so makes your well-being hostage to circumstances outside your control. Instead, compete with your past self. Strive to be better than you were yesterday. Learn from your mistakes, but never allow other people's achievements to diminish your own progress. Rejection, after all, is a sign that you are trying. If you are getting rejected, it means you are pushing boundaries, daring to go where many won't. The Stoics provide a powerful framework to understand and manage rejection. They divided life into 3 categories: what is good, what is bad, and what is indifferent. Virtue, your character, wisdom, courage, and integrity is good. Vice, dishonesty, laziness, cruelty is bad. Everything else, including wealth, social status, and external approval, is indifferent. Preferred indifference, like health, success, and relationships, are naturally desirable, but they are not the source of your happiness. Rejection falls into this category. It may be unpleasant, but it cannot determine your inner worth. When you recognize that outcomes are largely outside your control, you begin to detach your happiness from approval, and in that detachment you find freedom. Every rejection also brings you statistically closer to success. In sales, they call it the law of averages. In life, it is simply persistence. The more you try, the higher the probability of reaching a favorable outcome. Each no you encounter is another step toward a yes. The truth is, the only way you truly fail is by quitting. By enduring, by showing up again and again, you eventually surpass those who give up at the first sign of adversity. The obstacle is not a wall, it is the path. Rejection, like every challenge, becomes the way forward. It is crucial to maintain a balance between reflection and action. Between each attempt, pause briefly to evaluate patterns. Are there recurring issues that need adjusting? Are there improvements you can make in your approach, your skills, or your mindset? Use rejection not as a reason to dwell, but as data to refine your strategy. Then act again with renewed clarity. Reflection strengthens effort, and effort strengthens outcomes. This cycle, repeated consistently, is the engine of resilience and growth. The Stoics also emphasized the importance of ethical consistency. No rejection, no feedback, and no external pressure should tempt you to compromise your values. If someone tells you to behave in a way that contradicts your principles to gain acceptance, reject that advice outright. True success is never achieved at the cost of integrity. Your character, your choices, and your virtue are the foundations upon which all achievement must be built. Rejection can test your principles, but it cannot force you to surrender them. In fact, facing rejection ethically strengthens your resolve and defines your true worth. It is not only about endurance. It is about strategy. Use rejection to guide your self-improvement. If someone points out a weakness, a skill you lack, or a behavior that hindered your success, apply that insight and grow stronger. If their response offers no constructive path, ignore it and move on. Treat each attempt as a learning opportunity. The world will not always reward effort immediately, but persistent, deliberate practice yields mastery over time. The more you refine your approach, the more often rejection transforms into preparation for the next victory. Understanding the mental game is also essential. Negative thoughts can creep in, whispering that repeated failure proves you are incapable. But these thoughts are often lies reinforced by fear. Examine them critically. How much experience have you had with this particular task? If the answer is relatively little, then the failure is simply a result of insufficient practice. Mastery takes time, repetition, and patience. Do not allow fleeting setbacks to cloud your judgment or diminish your motivation. Instead, recognize that each rejection is a rehearsal for future success, a stepping stone toward competence, and eventually excellence. The stories of the most successful people illuminate this truth. Steve Jobs did not allow his firing from Apple to define him. Walt Disney ignored early critics who said he lacked imagination. Oprah Winfrey persevered despite being fired. Michael Jordan transformed high school rejection into legendary achievement. J.K. Rowling endured dozens of rejections before her work was recognized. Their secret was consistent action, unwavering self-belief, and the ability to use rejection as fuel rather than a weapon against themselves. Each of them understood that the outcome is never guaranteed, but the effort is always under your control. Rejection also teaches us the importance of mental fortitude. Life will throw obstacles in your path, and it is inevitable that some of them will come from people, systems, or circumstances beyond your control. A failed job interview, a relationship that doesn't work out, or a project that is rejected does not define your abilities or your potential. The key is to train your mind to separate self-worth from outcomes. You may not control other people's decisions, but you can control how you respond to them. By doing so, you reclaim your power and refuse to let a single event dictate your trajectory. Resilience is built through deliberate practice. The Stoics remind us that virtue is strengthened by action. Your mind, like a muscle, grows stronger through repeated exposure to challenge. Begin small. Ask for something slightly outside your comfort zone every day. Each rejection you encounter is not a setback. It is weight being added to your emotional barbell. Over time, you build an immunity to the sting of no, a toughness that allows you to pursue bigger goals without fear. The more you train, the more rejections become data, not disasters. This is the difference between those who falter and those who rise above. Feedback plays a critical role in this process, but discernment is key. Not every opinion or critique is valuable. Seek feedback from credible sources, people who have experience, skill, and a stake in the outcome you are pursuing. Good feedback is specific and actionable. It guides you toward improvement, highlighting behaviors or choices you can change. Bad feedback, on the other hand, is vague, emotionally charged, or irrelevant. Learning to filter constructive criticism from noise protects your mind and keeps you focused on meaningful growth. When facing rejection, adopt the mindset of continuous improvement. Instead of internalizing failure, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? What adjustments can I make? How can I approach the next opportunity with more skill, confidence, and clarity? Repeated failure is not a signal to quit. It is a roadmap. Every no brings you closer to understanding what works, what doesn't, and how to refine your approach. This is the essence of the Stoic philosophy. Focus on what you can control, let go of what you cannot, and act consistently with wisdom and virtue. The mental game extends to how you view others' decisions. When someone rejects you, it is often not personal. People make countless poor decisions every day, decisions that have nothing to do with your value. Someone refusing your application, your idea, or your affection is simply making a choice based on their perspective, their current needs, or even their limitations. Recognizing this allows you to respond with perspective rather than pain. Feel empathy for their mistake if you choose, but do not let it wound you. You are not defined by their judgment. You are defined by your actions, your resilience, and your commitment to growth. The path to mastery requires patience. Many give up too early because they expect immediate results. Remember, no one starts as an expert. Success requires repetition, experimentation, and learning from each attempt. Compare yourself only to your past self, not to others. Competitors will always exist, but your focus must remain on improving, refining, and expanding your own capabilities. This mindset allows you to keep moving forward even when progress seems slow, and it turns rejection into a natural part of the journey rather than a roadblock point. One of the most powerful lessons from history is that rejection often precedes remarkable achievement. Every failure or refusal carries with it a hidden lesson. Steve Jobs' firing forced him to innovate in ways he never would have imagined otherwise. Walt Disney's early setbacks pushed him to build an empire. Oprah Winfrey's initial rejection strengthened her emotional intelligence and storytelling ability. Michael Jordan's high school cut fueled a relentless drive that no talent alone could produce. J.K. Rowling's repeated refusals refined her writing until the world finally recognized its brilliance. Their common thread is not innate luck or genius. It is persistence, reflection, and the conscious choice to convert rejection into growth. Rejection can also sharpen your focus and motivation. Each no is a signal to improve, adjust, and strive harder. Use it to fuel a prove them wrong mentality, not out of spite, but as a tool for self-improvement. Every morning, remind yourself of the obstacles you have overcome and the goals still ahead. Rejection is not a permanent condition. It is temporary feedback. Let it guide you, not discourage you. Let it sharpen your skills, strengthen your resolve, and deepen your commitment to your objectives. Action must always follow reflection. Thoughts alone are not enough. The Stoics emphasized that living virtuously requires doing, not just thinking. When faced with rejection, plan your next move carefully, adjust your approach based on what you have learned, and act decisively. Each attempt builds momentum, each effort compounds, and over time, the accumulation of deliberate action yields results. It is not luck that separates winners from losers. It is persistence, strategy, and the willingness to confront discomfort repeatedly until success is achieved. Finally, remember that life is inherently competitive, but competition is not your enemy. It is the proving ground in which you develop skill, resilience, and character. Every rejection, every failure, every obstacle is a chance to demonstrate your abilities to yourself and, eventually, to the world. Compete with integrity, with persistence, and with the understanding that the process is more important than any single outcome. By doing so, you turn rejection into a stepping stone, an opportunity, and a catalyst for transformation. Now, let's talk about the mindset that separates those who let rejection define them from those who let it propel them forward. This mindset is built on ownership, discipline, and perspective. When you experience rejection, do not waste energy blaming others, the system, or luck. Instead, own your reaction. You cannot always control the external event, but you can control the internal response. Stoicism teaches that our happiness and fulfillment are determined not by circumstances, but by how we perceive and respond to them. Rejection is simply another circumstance, and you have full authority over your interpretation of it. One of the most practical approaches is to treat each rejection as feedback on your process, not your worth. Separate yourself from the outcome. If you fail to get a job, a promotion, a relationship, or a contract, analyze the factors you can improve. Was your preparation insufficient? Could your communication have been clearer? Were there external factors entirely outside your control? Distinguishing between these allows you to respond with precision rather than frustration. Every failure becomes a lesson, every no becomes an opportunity to refine your approach, and every obstacle becomes a teacher rather than a threat. Rejection also cultivates resilience through repeated exposure. Think of it as a mental gym. Each no strengthens your tolerance for discomfort, fear, and uncertainty. You learn to act despite doubt and rejection. You learn to maintain clarity under pressure. You learn that temporary setbacks are part of a long-term trajectory towards success. This is why deliberate exposure matters. Start with small, manageable rejections and gradually increase the stakes. Over time, what once felt devastating will become routine. You will approach challenges with calm confidence, knowing that rejection cannot break your spirit. It can only refine it. Equally important is the principle of selective attention. Not every criticism, comment, or refusal deserves your energy. The Stoics remind us to focus only on what is meaningful and within our control. Ignore random judgments, emotionally charged feedback, and unsolicited opinions from people who lack experience or investment. Value guidance from credible, competent, and constructive sources. By filtering input in this way, you protect your mind from distraction and allow yourself to focus on improvement, action, and mastery. Consistency is the secret to transforming rejection into success. Small, repeated efforts compound over time. The daily habits of showing up, trying, reflecting, and adjusting are what build unshakable confidence. The great achievers did not succeed overnight. They succeeded through relentless consistency. Each failed attempt was a lesson, each refusal was data, and each setback was fuel. You too can follow this path. By remaining patient, disciplined, and committed, you develop the ability to endure any setback and ultimately achieve what others might have deemed impossible. It is also essential to embrace a long-term perspective. In the heat of rejection, it is easy to feel discouraged, as if the world has closed its doors to you. But when you step back, you see the bigger picture. The vast opportunities still ahead, the countless paths to success, and the endless possibilities for growth. Remember the phrase, "There are many fish in the sea," not just in love, but in career opportunities, creative pursuits, and personal growth. One rejection does not close the door. It merely redirects you toward a better path. By adopting this long-term view, setbacks lose their sting, and perseverance becomes natural. Rejection can also serve as a powerful motivator. Use it to ignite a prove-them-wrong mentality, not from spite, but from determination to demonstrate your abilities. Every doubt, every underestimate, every dismissive comment becomes fuel for your growth. Michael Jordan carried a mental list of all who doubted him, and he used it to push beyond limits that most would have accepted as insurmountable. Your own list may not be literal, but mentally acknowledging obstacles and challenges can energize your commitment and focus. In parallel, cultivate gratitude. It may seem counterintuitive, but recognizing what is going well in your life even amid rejection strengthens your resilience. Gratitude does not deny pain, it contextualizes it. It reminds you that life is not only about the setbacks you face, but also about the progress, opportunities, relationships, and strengths you already possess. This dual perspective, acknowledging pain while appreciating what you have, creates emotional balance and a grounded sense of purpose. As you act, reflect, and grow, remember that rejection is temporary, but the lessons and strength it provides are permanent. Every no sharpens your focus, strengthens your resolve, and prepares you for the yes that will change your life. The key is persistence. Do not allow temporary setbacks to dictate your trajectory. Each attempt, each effort, each risk taken in the face of potential rejection compounds into mastery. You are building not just skills or accomplishments, but character, resilience, and mental fortitude. Finally, embrace life as a contest of effort, courage, and persistence. Rejection is part of the arena. The only true failure is quitting, giving up, or allowing fear to dictate your actions. Approach every challenge with courage, view every refusal as data, and act consistently with integrity, patience, and determination. This is the Stoic path to transforming rejection into opportunity. By mastering your mind, refining your approach, and persevering in the face of adversity, you ensure that each no propels you closer to the success you seek. Go forward with the knowledge that rejection does not define you. Your mindset, actions, and resilience define you. Collect each no like a badge of honor, a lesson, and a stepping stone. Apply every bit of feedback wisely, act with consistency, and keep improving. Show up again and again with courage, with purpose, and with discipline. In the arena of life, persistence wins, effort triumphs, and over time, those who embrace rejection, learn from it, and act decisively will achieve what others only dream of. Your future self is waiting for you to act, endure, and succeed. Now go out, take the risks, face the no's, and rise stronger than ever before. Have you ever been rejected? By a date, a job, or an opportunity you really wanted? Felt that sharp sting, that heavy weight in your chest? I know that feeling. It's raw. It's uncomfortable. But I'm here to tell you something powerful. You can get past it. You can come back stronger, smarter, and more determined than ever. Not only is it possible, it's done every day by people who refuse to let no define them. And today, I'm going to show you how it all begins in your mind. Because at the end of the day, life is mental. Winners and losers are not just determined by talent, they're determined by mindset. And here's the good news. Your mind is something you can control. You can change it. One of the core lessons of Stoicism is this. You cannot control what other people think or the choices they make, but you can control your own thoughts, reactions, and actions. Someone rejects you? That's not on you, it's on them. But how you respond, that is entirely your decision. Who has more influence over your emotions than you do? Exactly you. So reject rejection. Say no to the idea that a single no can define you. If someone decides you're not right for them, pause for a moment. Reflect. People make bad decisions every day. Think about it. Someone is driving drunk right now. Someone is losing money they can't afford to lose. Someone is messing up in countless ways. If people make poor choices all the time, why should you let one bad decision about you hurt you? Feel a little pity for their mistake if you want, but don't let it pierce your spirit. As Epictetus said, no one can hurt you without your permission. For jobs, it's even simpler. Companies make mistakes. Many interviews today are virtual, automated, with no human connection at all. A rejection often says more about their process than your worth. And in dating or work, remember, there are thousands, even millions of opportunities out there. One no is insignificant in the grand scheme. Keep moving forward, keep striving, because the right opportunity is waiting. Now, let's talk about your internal voice. That little whisper that says, you keep failing. Maybe you're not good enough. That voice can kill motivation if you let it. So what do you say back? Start with critical thinking. How much practice have you had? Chances are, if you're just starting, the answer is not enough. Excellence doesn't appear overnight. Mastery takes repetition, patience, and persistence. And what about comparison? The world is full of skilled people. You will always see someone ahead of you. But here's the Stoic wisdom. Don't measure your self-worth against others. Competing against others makes you a prisoner of factors beyond your control. Instead, compete with yourself. Strive to be better than you were yesterday. Every rejection becomes a stepping stone. Every challenge an opportunity to surpass your past self. Rejection, in fact, can be trained. Think of it like building a muscle. Start small. Ask for a discount at a coffee shop. Request an upgrade on your flight. Apply for jobs just above your current level. The goal isn't to succeed every time. The goal is to get comfortable with hearing no. Each rejection is like adding weight to your mental barbell. Over time, you grow stronger, more resilient, and less afraid of the word that stops most people dead in their tracks. Most people try to avoid rejection entirely. But avoiding it is like skipping the gym and wondering why you're weak. Instead, collect rejections like trophies. Entrepreneurs and great leaders do this every day. Imagine asking strangers for the most ridiculous favors. Most will say no. But here's the magic. Rejection stops hurting. It becomes a game. You learn that a no is not a reflection of your worth. It's just information. And with each no, you move closer to the yes that matters. Consider the greats. Steve Jobs was fired from Apple. Walt Disney was told he lacked imagination. Oprah was fired for being too emotionally invested. Stephen King's first novel was rejected 30 times. And yet, they didn't quit. They returned stronger, smarter, and more determined. Jobs built the iPhone. Disney created an empire. Oprah became a global icon. King became a best-selling author. They understood the mental game. Rejection was not an obstacle, it was fuel. But let's be clear. Not all rejection is equal. Sometimes, No comes with feedback, and feedback can be invaluable. But not all feedback deserves your attention. Seek advice from people who have skin in the game, people with experience, credibility, and knowledge. Ignore the random opinions of strangers, emotionally charged comments, or advice that contradicts your values. Constructive feedback focuses on actions you can improve. Destructive feedback attacks you personally or is irrelevant. Learn to filter wisely. Every rejection also sharpens focus. Each no tells you what might need improvement, what you can do differently next time. Take time to reflect, analyze patterns, adjust your approach. But don't linger too long. Action is critical. Between reflection and action, you build a cycle of continuous improvement. Repeated attempts, guided by learning, gradually refine your skill, increase your resilience, and move you closer to your goal. And always remember, setbacks are temporary, but the lessons are permanent. Each failure strengthens mental fortitude. Each refusal teaches strategy. Each obstacle is a lesson in patience, discipline, and perseverance. Over time, what once felt like a painful rejection becomes a stepping stone, a challenge to rise above, and a proof of your strength. Competition is inevitable. The world is full of challenges and rivals. But competition is not a curse. It is a proving ground. Every match, race, or contest is an opportunity to demonstrate your skill, courage, and persistence. Approach each one with respect, but also with focus. Let each no fuel your growth. Let each challenge sharpen your abilities. This is the path of mastery that as you navigate life. Remember these truths. Rejection does not define you. Your actions, your mindset, your resilience define you. Collect each no like a badge, a lesson, a building block. Act consistently. Seek feedback selectively. Reflect honestly. Keep trying. Keep improving. And above all, embrace the journey. The arena of life is tough, but it is also where greatness is forged. Your future self is counting on you. Every no you face is an opportunity to rise higher, to grow stronger, and to prove your resilience. Collect the rejections, absorb the lessons, and take decisive action. Persist, reflect, improve, and one day, you'll look back and realize that each rejection wasn't a wall. It was a stepping stone to everything you've achieved. So go forward. Take risks. Embrace the discomfort. Face the no's without fear. And rise stronger, wiser, and more determined than ever before. The arena is yours. Step into it. Persist. Win.